we all came from the sea. And it is an interesting biological fact that all of us have in our veins the exact same percentage of salt in our blood that exists in the ocean. And therefore, we have salt in our blood, in our sweat, in our tears. We are tied to the ocean. And when we go back to the sea, whether it is to sail or to watch it, we are going back from whence we came.
All right, the pressure's on.
What's it one more time?
For the love of the, wait, for the love of the vineyard and, wait, okay.
For the love of the vineyard.
Wait, so what about the water,
For
the
the
sea?
love of the vineyard
Oh,
and the sea, please support
Salem V. Okay.
I think I got it, yeah.
For the love of the vineyard.
For the love of the vineyard.
For the love of the vineyard, for the love of the vineyard,
For the love of the vineyard.
for the love of the vineyard, and for the sea. Wait, is it and for the
For the love of the vineyard and
And for the love of Salem V.
For the sea! Yeah.
These beautiful women walked by and it distracted me.
And the sea.
And the sea.
And the sea.
Please support.
Please support.
Please support Salem V.
For the love of the vineyard and the sea, please support Salem V.
For the love of the vineyard and the sea, please support Salem V. My name is Rick Brew.
My name is Mary Morano.
My name is Coltrane Laporte.
My name is Melissa Moore.
I'm Carnalad.
I'm Griffin Stead.
I'm Joe Serpa, captain of the sailing team and future naval architect.
I'm Charlie Morano, former captain of the Vineyard sailing team.
I'm Peggy Schweer, president of Sail Martha's Vineyard.
I'm Matthew Stackpole. I had the luck of being one of the founders of this organization and I'm a past president.
I'm Tristan Lodge. I'm a captain, an entrepreneur, and above all, a sailor.
Live from the island of Martha's Vineyard and the studios of Martha's Vineyard Community Television, it's the 2020 Sail Martha's Vineyard Seafood Buffet and Auction. Your host, Andrew Nutton.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 29th annual Sail Martha's Vineyard Seafood Buffet and Auction. We've got a lot ahead of us this evening. We've got some great stories, some great tales, and what we're trying to do is convince you that Sail MV is really the organisation that you need to be supporting. We're here to support and celebrate everything that we do. But before we go any further, let's have a little quick look at how we can raise this money. So what we have is we have our event website, and you can see here we have lots of things going on. And on the top of the page, you'll see a donation and an items page. So let's click on the donation section. From here, you'll be able to click, and then it'll click through to where you can donate your money. What we need to do is click the click to donate, and we go from there. All you need to do then is enter the figure that you're happy to enter, and then click donate. It'll then take you through to your next stage where you put a little bit of information in. It'll take you through to your card checkout, and we'll receive the money immediately, and we'll be ever so grateful for that. Moving away from donations towards something that I know a lot of you are really interested in is the auction. And within the auction, we have loads of really cool stuff. From boats, we have our own boat, Little Vixen, which is an 18-foot Buzzards Bay 14. She's in great condition and will be perfect for families wanting to sail around the many ponds on the vineyard. We also have some bespoke items from craftsmen across the island. We have the Chappie Wood Company and Zach Pinero and his bowls. He finds a tree, cuts it down and carves it there. It truly is a Chappie classic. We've got Mike McEntee as well and his little mahogany and oak boxes. Mike only makes things for families and friends, so we're so lucky to have this item in our auction. Okay? What else we have is we have a tour of G&B and also a little chat from Tom Dunlop and Alison Shaw about the book Schooner. A little extra there, you'll get a signed copy of the book, and you can go to Alison's studio and pick a picture of your choice and have it signed. Enough about that. What we need to do now is we need to start the stories coming. So first we're going to hear from Peggy Schweer, the president of our board, but before that, John Kettlewell, our executive director. Take it away, John.
Thanks, Andy. When I first came to the island in the winter of 2019, I hit the ground running. We were already signing up kids for our summer program that sees 500 young sailors out on the water. We're doing maritime studies and year-round rowing and lots of other stuff. St. Martha's Vineyard's a really busy place. We had a great year last year, and over the winter we were getting prepped for an even better 2020 season, and then we ran into the coronavirus in March. Just like the rest of the nation, we had to shut things down and tighten our belts. But St. Martha's Vineyard's determined to fulfill our mission. We want to get those 500 kids back out on the water, and with your help, we can do it. So I hope you're going to enjoy the show tonight. Please participate in our fundraising event, bid on some auction items, and we hope we'll be back for another 29 years with your assistance. Now I'm going to turn it over to Peggy Schweer, Board President.
Thanks, John. When I think of the seafood buffet and auction, I think of those warm, wonderful summer nights down on Tisbury Wharf, under the tent, with all those gorgeous boats, and all of your friends, supporters, and neighbors there. It's a really wonderful slice of life, and I'm going to miss it. What I'm going to miss the most, however, is really not being able to perform our core mission, which is getting kids out on the water. 500 kids a summer, which gives them hope, opportunity, access. And for some, this is going to change the arc of their lives. So tonight, we cannot be together, but we can still get together and raise our paddle and enjoy the show.
All of these island people were willing to give up their time, put in their energy, put in sweat equity. This isn't a lot of money. This is people working people on the vineyard, taking the time to help put this together. And this has been 29 years.
We were the sailing committee, and we felt our job was to spend money on the program, money that we didn't have. But John Thayer, another old-timer, said, we'll just spend it, let them figure out how to get the money for us.
Island kids should have a chance to get in a boat and fall out of a boat, and get in a boat and learn how to row. And the very basic part of the beginning of the program was, it's really important that island kids, if they never have an opportunity to get in a boat any other time, get in a boat, learn how to row, fall out of it, and have a good time.
It takes any island kid, and at no cost, teaches them the basics of sailing and rowing and just being comfortable on the water. And that's a huge advantage because that can lead to either working on commercial vessels or getting into the sailing for the fun of it.
Sailing program for the little kids grows into the sailing team and the maritime studies program at the high school. It all kind of links together so that a kid that doesn't want to go off and become a CEO of some major corporation but wants to do something that's interesting, challenging, tests your wits all the time, get on a boat.
The elemental learning that happens from St. Martha's Vineyard has as much to do with the internal person growing as it does the external environment in which it's experienced. These kids literally have an opportunity to grow and to gain from that experience some confidence that will helpfully help them as they experience new challenges and new circumstances. And so it's a life lesson.
It means a lot to the kids on this island. There's a whole class of kids, as Andy said, who were going to be there this summer. It was their turn in the queue, and they can't be. And we'd like to accommodate them for next year as well as bring the next class on. So we have a big job ahead of us.
The water in Vineyard Haven Harbor is connected to all the water in the rest of the world. And in some ways, one of the thoughts about St. Martha's Vineyard is that by introducing the kids from this island to that water and letting them have get out of it whatever they can learn, but one of the things they can learn is that that water can take them all over the world as well.
You couldn't spend your contribution in a better way than at St. Martha's Vineyard. It's as efficient as the Salvation Army, and it produces happy children at the end and life-changing experience.
Isn't it amazing that that group of people knew that for the world to be your oyster, you had to know about the sea? And one of those people was Nancy Vitor. And Nancy has been so generous and donated something to our auction. So let's have a quick look at the auction. We've got some technical issues. John's fingers are a little bit too portly, I fear. Here we go. Okay, so Nancy Vitor and Carnegie Blair, they've donated some table settings. So if you're going to have a swanky soiree sometime this summer, why don't you have a little bid on this? They're beautiful, they're bespoke, and they're perfect for any table around the island. Talking about having a swanky soiree, we are so grateful that the Picasso of Poisson of Martha's Vineyard, Jamie Hanlon, is giving us 6 dinners for 6 people. These, as ever, anybody who's been to the seafood buffet, you know the food is absolutely fantastic. Okay, talking about food, my belly's rumbling, but what we need to do now is we need to start thinking about what Sail NV does. And one of the things we do is our maritime studies. So let's have a little look and see what we do within the school.
Reading an article one day, I realized that there were only 3 high schools in the United States that had a maritime studies program. One was Juneau, Alaska, another one was in New Orleans, another one was in New Haven. And here we live in an island environment, and yet we weren't doing anything like this.
Here it is 10 years later, and they have the marine curriculum at the high school for the first time, and it makes sense.
We have the Maritime Studies program at the high school, which I encourage everybody to do. I have 3 friends that I have encouraged to taking it.
Oh, I get kids in there that have probably never been on a boat. They live on an island.
There's 3 boat yards here. There's a certain number of kids that are going to graduate. Why aren't they trained mechanics? Why aren't they working as boat handlers?
And the idea here is to give them oh, that's why I'm learning this. I remember having a parent-teacher conference. She said, do you realize my son's a senior at this high school, and the first time he's ever brought a book home for homework is your class? And I had to say to her, but I don't assign homework. That it was sheer curiosity. This young man ended up having the highest academic grade in the course.
Okay, well done. Okay, tugboat. We're not going to make it easy on you.
I gave the final exam at the end of first semester this year, and I gave them the same plotting exam that I gave the 100-ton master's course.
It was, through the class we'll learn how to chart, we'll learn the rules of the road, we'll learn good seamanship, deck skills, knot tying, fire safety,
This is just the blueprint for what you need to be able to go and be safe underwater. And so this course at least allows the people who are going to work here to be up to a standard.
It makes it accessible, because I know for myself I wouldn't have been able to afford this class if it wasn't through Sail NV.
It's a practical application to your local situation.
Sense of place is really important. It's something a lot of people don't have in this world, or their home is something they view as not special. The Vineyard is special. People comment on the beauty and the breathtakingness of Martha's Vineyard, but a lot of people who live here don't get to see a full perspective of it. And I think Sail NV is a way to not only offer perspective, but also a pathway.
It's a fascinating insight into our Maritime Studies class. If you think this is something you want to support, please just go to our event website and click on Donate Now. We'd really appreciate it. Now, we have so many children that go through that program. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like to introduce you to Joe. And here is Joe's story.
I started out, I think it was, messing around with boats. So right around 7 or 8 years old, and then I worked my way all the way up to the top class. Having the opportunity to learn how to sail on the island is just such an amazing opportunity, and what I've experienced and all those experiences have kind of guided me towards this career path. I'm going to school for naval architecture and marine engineering. You could say that, SailMV has been one of those driving forces that's helped me come to this realization of what I want to do, and also introduced me to this whole new world and what the water has to offer. Without SailMV, I would not be where I am today. I'm Joe Serpa, captain of the sailing team and future naval architect.
I always love listening to Joe's story. In fact, Joe was down at the boathouse today teaching kids at the boathouse, learning how to sail and passing on the knowledge he's learnt with us. You heard there that Joe started in our basic MABS course. So why don't we have a little look at how that program works?
When I have gotten to summer, I've known that this is how you got through the school year, because you had sailing to look forward to.
We provide the opportunity to lots of kids on the island who couldn't afford it, giving them the ability to see what's available to them. Working on the water, being part of the water, is something that is incredibly important to us, and we feel that it's incredibly important to this community.
When I come here and walking down that hill, I can think of so many times that this is where I'm happiest.
Kids who grow up out here should learn how to be safe on a boat.
Think of a 9-year-old who, for the first time, sailing by himself, controlling where that goes, how fast it goes, what tack it's on. He or she is in control, and the confidence that that instills in that child.
Not only do I learn how to sail, but I get to spend time surrounded by people who are passionate about sailing.
The football players kind of like, what are you doing? Like, what's sailing all about? I tell them, like, we're a good team. We're like 15 in New England. They kind of gotten interested in it too. Like, they ask me about sailing now.
Generally, we have races off island. We all do our homework together. We all sit and listen to music together. We gossip together.
I love it. You know, there's nothing better than watching a high school kid grow and mature and just, enjoying their life.
I think I went home and I told my mom, like, wow, like, I wish I could just be a pirate all day, every day. Like, I wish I could be at SailMV and just live there.
Not only is SailMV my summer, it's never a place where I've been judged. That's what SailMV is. SailMV is a judgment-free place for me. And that's huge for me. That's ginormous. It's the Empire State Building for me.
What you saw there was the summer program and also our high school sailing team. I have the great honour, along with my friend Andrew Burr, to coach this wonderful group of people. To make it even better, we're pretty good. In 2017, Sail Martha's Vineyard looked at how we were serving our community. And it seemed, and it proved, that we were not providing as we should to a certain group of people. So in the summer of 2018, we organised and invited a few small groups of people from Camp Jabberwocky and Island Autism to come down to the sailing camp and take to the water. These sessions were so successful that in 2019 we officially launched Sail Mobility MV, our free adaptive sailing program. Throughout 2019 we provided over 48 hours of training for these young people, all for free. One of the really sad things about the current medical situation we find ourselves in is that these sessions have not been able to run. It's wonderful to be able to hear their initial screams of terror and trepidation as the boat heels, turn almost immediately into whoops of joy. It's truly inspiring. And to know that when the boat heels, their souls soar, just like anyone's does, the first time they take to sea under the power of the wind. Without Sail Mobility MV, they would not have these experiences. And they wouldn't have the opportunity that we as sailors take for granted each and every day. So if you're looking for one reason to support Sail MV tonight, this is it. Because we all know that the sea is for everyone, and Sail Mobility MV makes that a reality for everyone on this island. There is only one vineyard, we only have one sea, and there is only one Sail Mobility MV.
Once they're on the water, it's really like a universally, I guess, therapeutic sensation that they're feeling. It's like they've gone through an intense yoga session or something. They're calm, much more calm than they would have been otherwise, and they're going home happy, and that makes for a happy family too, happy parents. These kids wouldn't be on the water otherwise. They might be looking out at the water and seeing other people out there and thinking like, boy, I'd love to be doing that, but they don't have that opportunity otherwise. It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Sail Martha's Vineyard. Part of what we're doing is trying to keep kids on the island, because if they aren't getting services, they have to get sent, to a school off island or some institution that's going to help them that we don't have here. So our goal is to make it so kids don't ever have to leave the island. To be part of the island and to be a lifelong part of the community means that you're on the water sometimes. You've experienced it. So, and it should be for everybody. So it's great that we can offer these kids that experience.
So that was Kevin. And actually, Kevin is our webmaster at Sail MV. I've had the privilege of going out in the water several times with Kevin and Connor, his son, and it's always fun and thoroughly enjoyable for everyone involved. And it's truly sad that we're not able to go on the water this year. But these things happen, so we need to make sure that Sail MV can continue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a quick look and see who's been donating. So we've got lots of people who've donated already, which we're absolutely thankful for. We've got the MV Shipyard. Now these guys are absolutely brilliant. They sort us out at the boathouse and within the Big Boat program all the time. Bill and James, you're the best. Thank you so much. And the donation is really greatly received. Bob and Mary Renali up in Menemsha. I see them twice a week. Wonderful people. Thank you so much for your $2,000 donation. And Linda Warner, thank you for $1,200. It means a lot. But when we really think about our donors, there's one that always comes to mind, and that's Pat Morgan. Pat, thank you so much for supporting us over the years. And this year, thank you again for your $10,000. Well, I'm going to give you a little challenge out there now. We'd really love you to be able to raise $10,000 in the next 10 minutes. Sail Martha's Vineyard's mission over the last 29 years has to provide the youth of this amazing island with the skills they need so they can chart a course to a horizon of their own choice. And you've heard from those people already this evening, and it's truly staggering the influence that Sail MV has. From the classroom within the high school with our Maritime Studies class and the USCG Captain's course. Within the school too, we take to the water, and as I've already mentioned, this program is so successful. It's been running for 17 years, and it wouldn't have had any of this without Sail MV. What else we do on the water is broad, but something you may not know is we have a rowing program. We have a race team, mainly racing out of the charter school, and if you want to see a bunch of hardened, committed sea folk, I suggest you travel down to the sea on a February morning, and you'll find Jude, along with all our other rowers, taking to the sea in their beautiful Cornish gigs. We've just heard stories about Sail Mobility MV paving the way for adaptive sailing on the island. But the thing that we're most recognised for is our summer sailing programme. Over 29 years, Sail Martha's Vineyard has provided free sailing and windsurfing lessons to thousands of island children. In fact, over the last 10 years, Sail Martha's Vineyard has given away over $1 million of training. And that's a staggering number. What we like to think is that every young person that comes to Sale Martha's Vineyard takes their first steps into the sea. And with these steps come ripples. And with Sale Martha's Vineyard support, these young people will become the stewards of those ripples. They'll be educated, passionate and committed. And with their guidance, those ripples will become great waves that will enthrall and inspire future generations of vineyarders to take to the sea. Talking about taking to the sea, maritime history and community on this island is very important. And we're going to now look at one of our most famous captains, Zeb Tilton.
The Alice Wentworth was the name of it. I went down there and shoveled coal on that. Zeb, he was quite the character. He was a tough old bird. He'd sail that two-masted schooner all by himself down to Rhode Island and back up here with freight, up to Maine. He was unbelievable. He was strong, very strong.
Of course, my father knew so many people. They'd come down, different people would come down and talk to my father, you know. And I said to my father one time, I said, gee, I said, you must know everybody in the world. Because to me, and after living in Chilmark and having only known a few people, 7 or 8 people in a day that would come down and talk to him, high cap, and you know, because there were so many different ones that did know him from all the different years that he'd gone in and out of those ports, you know. He didn't care for land work at all. He didn't care for farming. He went to sea. And that was his whole life, and his love was the sea. If he had a fair wind, he wouldn't stop. Most of the time we sailed nights and days too. He could do with very little sleep, and he'd maybe get an hour's sleep, and he'd be up and he'd steer. But lots and lots of nights we sailed all night long. We never stopped. He never would have stayed off to the deck too long at a time, but if he wanted to take a cat nap, as he called it, you know, for a half hour or so, at night he'd tell me a certain thing, like a certain light or something, you know, to steer for, be on generally near inshore, and I could steer for it.
He was proud of his saleratus biscuits. A saleratus biscuit was nothing more or less than a baking powder biscuit. But he used saleratus. He wouldn't use baking powder, he used saleratus instead. And they were delicious. You always could tell what cargo we were carrying because the biscuits would be slightly rose-colored if we were carrying brick, or slightly grayish if we were carrying coal.
Zeb was really one of my favorites. I think my favorite. He was a very homely man. In fact, he had the reputation of being the homeliest man on the East Coast, but he could be very compassionate, very.
And there's the story of Zeb Tilton, a true character and one of the Vineyard's great captains. I find it amazing that he kept trading under the power of sail 30 years after power became the main force within shipping within this region. What we need to do now, though, is we need to have a quick look at our auction. So, things are going pretty well, but within here, we've got lots of cool things to look at. The one thing I'd like you to look at is item 2 and 3, which are the watches. What we have here are 2 Oris beautiful watches that sell normally for $2,000. They're going at a snip. So please, remembering that these items all finish at 7:30 in the evening. So we can just keep on going on those. So keep bidding away if you don't mind. Okay, fantastic. Now the Zeb story was one part of this island's wonderful maritime history and culture. But another one is a little ferry that joins the Vineyard to Chappie. So here's a little story called An Island Thing.
It's unique in that I bet we know more of our neighbors than other communities know, and it's because we see them down here. Now, we might not know them well, but we know who they are. I love the people funneling through this little maze here, being forced to confront one another and talk to each other.
It is history, there's no doubt about it. It's still being made every day here, you know, one way or another, you know. But I think to go from a rowboat to Midgie Betancourt going to a motorized boat, then going from 2-car ferries, single-ended, end up with 3-car ferries going back and forth, straight shuttling like that. That's history in itself, and building them was history. You know, I mean, island built. They weren't built in Boston or anywhere else. You know, they were built right here, right in Eggertown.
I've always looked on the ferry as a wonderful part of Chappaquiddick. It's kind of an extension of Chappaquiddick. It's a gathering place where people meet and talk and get gossip, and I always look forward to my trip over on the ferry.
I think everything that there is to know about Martha's Vineyard is to be found on Chappaquiddick, and I think everything about Chappaquiddick is to be found in the operation of this little remarkable 2-century-old thing.
It's amazing to think that in 1807, the only way you could really get to Chappie was by a rowboat. And that little ferry has become synonymous, appearing in a film about a really big fish and another one about a slightly dubious president or president candidate. Anyway, we're getting towards the end of our show now. So what I want you to do is, if you're interested in donating or having a look at our auction, please go to the website below me. St. Martha's Vineyard has been working diligently over the last 29 years to perpetuate this island's maritime history and community. We all know that a majestic tree requires healthy roots, and St. Martha's Vineyard sits in the centre, in the heart of our maritime community's root system. And we all know that however majestic a tree is, without healthy roots, it will surely, in time, wither and die. So if you believe that our maritime heritage and community is worth saving and protecting, St. Martha's Vineyard really should be worth your patronage. St. Martha's Vineyard is here for everyone who loves the vineyard and the sea, so please support either tonight or whenever you can this year, Sail MV. Well, that's about it for us tonight. All that's left for me to do is thank some people. We'd like to make a real thanks to MVTV for allowing us to gate crash their studio. I'd also like to pay a personal thanks to John Wilson for all his efforts and commitment to getting this show off the ground. All that's left for me now is to wish you all a very happy summer. I hope you stay safe and healthy, and I really look forward to seeing as many of you as possible on the sea very soon. Thank you very much, and good night.
The wind started to pick up, and we started cruising really fast. And after they taught us that capsizing isn't completely bad, it was kind of just fun. You learn a lot of problem solving when something goes wrong in the boat, and you have to maneuver the boat. All the teachers are so nice, whether you're going in circles with the boom spinning or you're going really fast, doing everything perfect. They don't care, they're gonna help you either way. I kind of am just hoping that I can do sailing for as long as I live, and be on the water, because it's my favorite place. I am Elliot Davis, and I am a sailor.